Start. Good morning, Yasharahlah. I come because I must be about my Father's business and the wording of our Mashiach, our head, to share another word in the series of the sealing, which we began as a charter mandate from our high priest and Malak of Yasharahlah, the one whom Edom strung high and stretched wide in the crucifixion that he rose up from 3 days later. So we come in his name, and because he rose from the dead. And the scripture witnesses that at his resurrection, the soldiers, Roman soldiers, Edomite Esau's soldiers, became as dead men when he rose. And so he ever lives to make an intercession for us. Yes, as our high priest now, and our king, our Malak. So we come to bring this word to you for strength unto Yasharahlah and to all other in the earth for his name's sake. So we are continuing in the words of the sealing proposition or proposition. Revelation, book of Revelation, states in chapter 7 concerning the sealing of the 12 tribes of Yasharahlah. All right. We find that in Bereshith or Genesis chapter 36, our opening verse of scriptures, that says, "And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the children of Yasharahlah." So we're taking a look at the ordinance, maybe I could say, of the reigning of kings and rulers in the earth from the biblical standpoint. When we go into the history of the world and its sovereigns, its rulers, the rulership class that had authority over the rest of the citizens of the earth, we discover, after all, maybe at a late time in our lives now, that according to the story, the proposition of birthright granted unto two boys, two sons of Abraham. Esau and Jacob, that has created a history of a kind that had the world in turmoil for so long. And the there has been a TV series, I believe, called Unsolved Mysteries. I think you will remember that. Many will remember that. Esau, of course, was the maker of the series of Unsolved Mystery, being the chief of Unsolved Mysteries himself. And so we want to solve, in the tradition of the word of Scripture given by the Most High himself, we want to solve some of the mysteries that ran rampant in the earth, creating horror and strife, bloodshed, death, and destruction. At this apparently late stage, because we were commissioned to go into the book that was given unto the last generation to study and to receive instruction from. That is the book of ANUKH, that was falsely called Book of Enoch. And so we have been on our journey in the book of ANUKH, and receiving a reward as well. On behalf of myself, who received I don't know if the word injunction is the right word, because I'm, you may forgive me, I'm kind of simply waking up and trying to get my words together. But in any case, we were instructed of the Ruach of the Most High to go into the book of ANUKH and bring out a word for the last of days. And so we look at the last days and ANUKH's relation to it, wherein he, the seventh from Adam, as the scripture tells us in Ibrahim, or the book of Hebrews, he prophesied. And a part of his prophecy says that, behold, the king, the Malach, the high priest of our profession, comes with clouds. Remember that scripture? Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. It is ANUKH who gave that beautiful prophecy that we read in the book of Yehuda, or Yahweh, right before the book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting a fresh up, according to the mandate that was offered to us by the Ruach, to go into the ANUKH as the book of warning before when they say the hell break loose, that we see of or read of in the book of Revelation, chapter 7, I believe it is, that the manifestation of destruction in the earth on a scale not experienced before, that is to happen. And having seen this, many tremble. You know, it's like they think they're reading some kind of fictional horror story. And so they're affrighted of the book of Revelation. But we, of the 12 tribes to whom the scriptures was given, it is our duty to be the vanguard of the revelation of Hamashiach, who's our king, that suffered under Pontius Pilate and was crucified and rose again. And he lives forever to make intercession for us, and to give us cleansing and renewal. And to that portion of the population of earth that shall be brought in, who are interested in enough to seek after that rich reward of submission unto our Malak, our high priest and our king, Yahushua, Yeshua, Yahushua, the beloved. The one whom Yasharahlah was warned of. That they should hear his voice and obey it, because he was some kind of what he was called in the days of Joshua and Moshe. He was called the Malakim of Yahweh, the Malakim of Yah. That was before his human birth. And as Hebrews tell us, that he was with the children of Yasharahlah as a pillar of fire by day. I mean, a cloud, you know, a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, guarding the 12 tribes. It's in your scriptures, if you didn't know it, that he was our guide prior to being born of Miriam in the set apart land. All right, so we're looking at the fact that Edom had rulership conferred upon him, and before there was any king or Malak in Yasharahlah. When we go into the history of Yasharahlah or the 12 tribes concerning the matter of kingship, or of kings that rule or would rule in the land of the 12 tribes, we first discover that Yosef, brother of Benjamin, had rulership responsibility set upon him in Mitzrayim before kingship was done in the set apart land. You remember yourself interpreting the Pharaoh's dream of the 7 years of plenty, the 7 years of leanness, and so on. Thus, yourself became a ruler, second only to the Pharaoh in Mizraim. This is before any king ruled in the land of Yasharahlah and over the 12 tribes themselves. We find today now that at this late stage of life, we have some directives being pushed towards us as we get nearer the end. And our Malak, our high priest and king, makes his move towards the setup of the kingdom of Yah, the Most High Kingdom. And we read about at length from many passages of scripture and, the many angles we kind of run through or walk through to get us there. I mean, we read in the book of Daniel chapter 2, I believe it is, in verse 44, that in the days of these kings, I hope I got the scripture right, in the days of these kings shall the Most High, Yahweh, set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed. I might be a little ahead of myself. But in so many words, the kingdom of the rulership of our king, our high priest and king, is shown in its coming. What we call it a kind of advertising anyway. ANUKH tells us, behold, he comes, the clouds. And so we are in expectation for his coming. Because according to Revelation 7, following the sealing, I can use the local term of reference to it. Following the sealing, all hell breaks loose. And so those of us who are not familiar with the scriptural rendition of the last days events, that is termed eschatology, from, I guess we can use Esau's word, that his usurpation exercise led him to coin. He talks about last days events by the use of the word eschatology. And, he goes on with his eschatology to speak about last days events and determining to set himself in the frame of the picture, as has been usual, to paint himself master of the world, even over the Most High and the Mashiach. This is a brave devil that the Mashiach coming to put down. So in this eschatology, the 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 the, the showing, the teaching of last days events. We know, according to Revelation 7, that there has to be a sealing of the 12 tribes. And where we are now, in terms of the prophetic clock, is exactly there at the sealing. And the sealing is exactly for the 12 tribes of Yasharahlah. We know that Esau and his modern Jews, his modern Jewry, sought to paint themselves into the picture of this event, or the events highlighting the coming of our high priest and king, our Malach, Yahushai, whom Esau has gone about to paint pictures of a coming king in the likeness of himself. So we call that a white Jesus. Esau had perpetrated on the whole earth, who was reigned over by Gadriel, Satan himself, always wanting to have dominion over the 12 tribes. And why? Why is that? Why would he want to have dominion over the 12 tribes? Because in the words of our Malach, our high priest, Yahushai, Mashiach, the scripture says that in him was life, and that life was the light of men. The negative side of that then is that Satan has no life. He had no life, which is the real reason that he has been desirous of capturing the 12 tribes, because the life of the Most High was in them. Satan didn't have any. And his people found out that with the crucifixion, that they were so hot after, committing. Oh yeah, they were feverish about committing the crucifixion. They wanted power and authority over this child that was born to be king in Yasharahlah. I mean, Herod, he massacred Benjamin in the early days of the reign of the kings up to the time of Pilate. Whereas there was an earlier time in the kingdom when Amalek, during the time of King Shaul, Amalek sought to wipe out Ramah and Ramah of Gilead, and to destroy all of Benjamin. And that has been an issue with Edom ever since that time until now. And so that characteristic, that attempt to wipe out Benjamin has continued until this day, which is a marker whereby we can know who the so-called Jews are. They are Amalek, and their attempt is to wipe out Benjamin. It's that's the way it is. From all the way back there in the time of David, King David, fast forward to now, and Amalek, as we know him today, in the form of a Joe Biden, in the form of Lyndon Johnson. I use those two to highlight Amalek for our modern understanding of who Amalek is. So we could also understand the hiding that Esau has done, but to bring him out from the hiding place. And one of the main thought about him, Amalek, is that in the quest of his people to get life, they conspired with the priesthood, Levi, being the priest, opened the gateway into the entire nation to allow Gadriel, Satan, and Esau entrance into the storehouse of life of the nation, so that they may get life, get some life. You know, of course, that they had no desire for life in the beginning, or that the life was, if you want to use the word, a commodity that they had no respect for. So they were hot to get rid of the Messiah, to crucify him and get him out of the way, because then they could have everything to themselves. They did not know that in him, the Mashiach, was life, and that life was the light of men. So when they crucified him in their rage, he simply withdrew his life from them. Then they set about their tirade, their rampage after the 12 tribes across highlands and lowlands and in any land. This is when you had, or why you had, the furious searching for Yasharahlah all through the length and breadth of the earth, because the life was withdrawn. And Satan knew that the life was in the 12 tribes, and he had his people track them down, slaughtering them, trying to force them into submission so that Edom could extract this life. As we see it portrayed in the book Medical Apartheid, their desire to get this life that they were so hot about destroying. Once they put the Mashiach down, in the fury of their intention to get rid of him, the Most High simply withdrew his life. And we have endured the result of that. So you know, Yasharahlah, where you are and what has been going on about you. What are the protocols of the battle that we are engaged with in this sealing time? Shobokuta, Ibadanaha, Wantokoro Mosate. Excuse me for a minute. See if we can get a little bit of light on this subject. But, so if we are viewing with respect to the gift of life and the withdrawal of this life, that has resulted in everyone being frantic now about this gift, this life they didn't want. The life was, according to the book Yochanan, John chapter 1, I think it is. In the beginning was the Word. I think that's the scriptural reference. And in him was life, and the life was the light of man, who came unto his own. And many of them disallowed him, spoke offensively at him, and showed little respect and regard for him. But once the life was withdrawn, following the crucifixion by Esau, the life was withdrawn. And you see the historical record of the heated work of Esau to find the people that they rightly understood to have this life within them, that they could access this life. That is the true understanding of the serpent after the woman in the wilderness. They were looking, Esau people, trying to get close to Yasharahlah to extract this life that they rejected. And in these last days, with the work of ANUKH before us, we behold them coming to us with a mandate that we should open up the gates to life and allow them entrance to this life that they so hotly abused in the Mashiach himself, and then in us as the 12 tribes. Even though one of our tribes, a number of the tribes, in fact, when we look at it in depthly, have gone defunct. I mean, Levi especially. Still fighting against the Mashiach. Only dimly and slowly becoming aware that without him, there is no life. And therefore, they are hot now for inclusion with the 12 tribes. The book of ANUKH, is bringing out to us in so many words that without him, there is no life. And so those of the underworld, of the satanic hierarchy, recognizing now that we destroyed the master of esteem. How can we get it back? And how have they tried to get it back? By using war and destructive methods to cower the children of Yasharahlah into a submissive position whereby they would, of themselves, release the life-giving properties that are in them for the evil ones to siphon off and out from them. The ceiling has come to set a blockage against that extraction of our lives. Shokotobata, that you cannot extract it as you wish, as you used to have the authority over them to do, to make them submit, to letting you hook up their apparatus to siphon your life off and out from you freely as they would desire it. Them days are over. Yes, Yasharahlah, you come to the reality of the crunch time and your salvation by Hamashiach Shabakata. So we encourage with these few words to look up, lift up your head, because according to ANUKH, behold, he comes with cloud, and every eye shall see him, even those who pierced him. Esau, and Levi, Shekataba, behold, he come, and every eye shall see him. They also that pierced him. Mm-hmm. So we encourage Yasharahlah. It is your king who comes to reign and to rule. Shababakat, Rabadaka Shmala Yabraha, Shilikito Barasnata. It is your king that comes, Yasharahlah, to your delight and for your salvation. Those who relegated you to nothingness. And the prophet says, I believe in Isaiah, I believe it's Isaiah, they said that they said to us, lay your body down so we can walk over it and go where we need to go. That's the thought they had towards us. But no more. Our lives are hid with Mashiach in Alahayim, Yahweh, Yekataba, and it's not accessible to you anymore. Praise the Most High. Bless him. Bless him. So you thought life was a commodity that you go into the store and you spend 10 cents or 5 cents. 5 cents is the catchword. 5 cent, 5 cent dollar. You thought nothing of the blood of the Mashiach and of his saints, of his servants. Now you know differently. So Yasharahlah, we look with some, we're interested anyhow in the matter of how the rulership of this world has gone. And we look at the people who now have come. They've come with a belligerence as if to tell us, to order us, open up the filling station that we can have access to your life. What we had access to for so many years, to freely pump, hitch up our apparatus to suck out the life from you that would supply us. And we carry on in our arrogance and lack of concern for the Most High. Kabbalakata. This is what's going on, Yasharahlah. And to you and I who look for him, shall he appear without sin unto salvation. Let these words comfort your hearts, assure you that you serve a king in whom the Most High Yahweh has placed all power. No time for looking back and being wishy-washy and unsure of yourself. He gave his life for you directly, and for those of the nations who would accept him as King of Kings and Malach high priest and Malach of Malachs. We'll close it down right here for now, and we'll make a part 2 of this this lesson. Until next time, may the Most High bless, keep you, cause His face to shine upon you, and give you shalom. So let it be.